Step into something darker with these 20 horror movies that you can stream right now. They draw you in, strip away certainty, and leave you alone with something far more sinister. Number 20, VHS 85. A flickering static screen, a forgotten year, and a cursed collection of analog nightmares. VHS 85, directed by a lineup of horror visionaries including David Bruckner and Scott Derrickson, drags us back to the decaying heart of the 80s with 5 blood-soaked tales captured on warped videotapes. From a late creature caught on camcorder to a government experiment unraveling human minds, each story feels like a cursed broadcast that should never be watched. Grainy visuals and vintage distortion heighten the fear, making every glitch feel like a scream from beyond. What makes this anthology stand out is its commitment to lo-fi terror, stripping horror back to its raw analog roots. Number 19, The Watched.
I saw myself.
Mina, a young American artist, finds herself stranded deep in an eerie Irish forest after her car breaks down, only to be lured into a mysterious concrete shelter with 3 strangers. At sundown, a chilling truth is revealed. Something inhuman stalks the woods, watching them through a one-way glass wall. Cut off from the outside world, they must follow strict rules, never leave after dark, and never look into the forest too long. As the days unravel, so does Mina's grip on reality, and the forest begins to close in like a living, breathing trap. Directed by Ashana Knight Shyamalan, The Watched is a claustrophobic blend of folklore and paranoia, where ancient evils meet modern surveillance. Number 18, The Snare. 3 friends head to a remote seaside apartment for a weekend getaway. But what starts as a harmless escape turns into a waking nightmare. Directed by C.A. Cooper, The Snare traps its characters and the audience in a suffocating descent into madness. When the elevator breaks and the exit mysteriously vanishes, Alice begins hearing voices and witnessing terrifying apparitions. As starvation sets in and reality bends, the apartment becomes a prison, and something malevolent waits just beyond the walls. What makes the film uniquely terrifying is its claustrophobic atmosphere and hallucinatory descent into psychological horror. Number 17, The Pact.
Oh, God.
When Annie returns to her childhood home after her mother's death, she expects tension, not terror. But when her sister vanishes overnight and cold spots haunt the air, she realizes something sinister still lives within the walls. As she digs deeper, she uncovers a hidden room, a link to a string of unsolved murders, and a malevolent force connected to her family's past. Directed by Nicholas McCarthy, The Pact merges supernatural horror with crime thriller, unraveling secrets through seances, nightmares, and ghostly encounters that are far more violent than expected. Annie must navigate visions, cryptic clues, and a lurking evil that isn't just a ghost, it's tied to a flesh and blood killer. The tension builds in a home that remembers everything, and letting go of the past might cost more than her sanity. Number 16, Devil's Pass. 5 American students travel deep into the Ural Mountains to investigate the real-life mystery of the Dyatlov Pass incident, but what they uncover is far more terrifying than a weather anomaly. Directed by Rennie Harlan, Devil's Pass fuses found footage realism with cold-blooded sci-fi horror. As the group hikes toward the doomed trail, strange symbols appear in the snow. Their equipment malfunctions, and something unseen begins stalking them. Then inside a hidden Soviet bunker, they find answers too monstrous to comprehend. What makes this nightmare unforgettable is its fusion of chilling folklore, survival horror, and time-bending dread. Number 15, Absentia.
They declared Walter dead in 2002. I ran into him just last week.
You see me?
Left behind a son who says his dad was...
7 years after her husband vanished without a trace, Tricia is ready to declare him dead in absentia. But her decision awakens something old and unseen. As she prepares to move on, her younger sister Callie arrives to help and becomes fixated on a dark pedestrian tunnel near their home, where flickers of movement and whispers seem to bleed through the walls. When Callie encounters a gaunt figure begging for help, the mystery deepens into something far older than grief. Directed by Mike Flanagan, Absentia is a quiet, creeping tale of loss, guilt, and the unseen forces that lurk just beyond the edge of reason. The terror unfolds in soft steps and shadows, building toward a horror that's never fully revealed, but impossible to ignore. Number 14, Baskin. A late-night call leads a squad of Turkish police officers to an abandoned building. What they find is not a crime scene, but a portal to pure hell. Directed by Khan Evernal, Baskin plunges deep into a surreal nightmare where reality collapses and ancient evil thrives. As the officers descend through blood-soaked corridors, they encounter mutilated cultists, nightmarish rituals, and a grotesque figure known only as the Father. Logic dissolves, time warps. The building itself seems alive. What makes the film truly terrifying is its fever dream storytelling, a blend of gore, Lovecraftian horror, and religious dread. Number 13, Below.
I don't believe we're alone down here.
This boat is cursed.
During World War II, the crew of the USS Tiger Shark rescues 3 survivors from a torpedoed British hospital ship. But once aboard, strange events begin to unfold. The radio malfunctions, crew members vanish, and ghostly whispers echo through the steel corridors of the submarine. Trapped beneath the ocean's surface, the line between psychological tension and the supernatural begins to erode as the past haunts every sonar ping. Directed by David Tohey, Below is a pressure-cooked ghost story set in one of the most claustrophobic locations imaginable. As paranoia spreads through the crew, they must confront not only the enemy above, but the horror they've unknowingly brought below. The submarine becomes a tomb of guilt and secrets, and with every passing hour, the walls seem to breathe. Number 12, Yummy. A young couple visits an Eastern European hospital for cosmetic surgery, but beneath the scalpel lies something far more grotesque. Directed by Lars Damoiseau, Yummy is a blood-soaked splatterfest where vanity meets viral horror. When a secret lab accidentally unleashes a mutated patient, the clinic descends into chaos, zombies swarm the halls, flesh peels from bone, and no procedure can save you. It's gory, twisted, and darkly comedic, embracing grindhouse brutality with stylish flair. What makes Yummy stand out is its relentless pace and stomach-turning special effects that never flinch. Number 11, You Won't Be Alone. In a secluded 19th century Macedonian mountain village, a mute girl named Navina is thrust from isolation when the ancient witch Maria transforms her into a being of shifting forms. Curled in caves and hidden from the world, Navina's first taste of freedom becomes the first step into an uncanny life of transformation, flesh stepping into animals and peasants alike. As she assumes others' lives, bodies, and burdens, she journeys through the human world with outsider eyes, learning language, longing, power, and loss. Directed by Goran Stilevsky, You Won't Be Alone blends folk horror with a lyrical meditation on identity and sensation. Here are 4 other movies you have to see. The first, Power.
You're around, buddy boy. Immortality.
You don't have any idea of what you'd be facing.
A determined Los Angeles detective teams with a psychic to stop a serial killer who practices dark rituals and seems to transcend death. As their investigation deepens, they confront forces far beyond conventional crime solving and enter a battle where the supernatural collides with the mortal world. Possession, ancient evil, and the quest to end a cycle of horror drive the story. Pet Sematary.
But we can, Daddy. We can.
After relocating to a rural town, a family discovers a mysterious burial ground deep in the woods behind their new home. When their beloved cat is killed, the father uses the strange soil to bring it back, only to find it changed. Then tragedy strikes again and grief leads him to repeat the mistake. What returns is no longer their child, but something far darker. Death has rules, and breaking them invites horror home. The Last Winter.
Why wouldn't the wilderness fight us? Like any organism would fend off a virus.
In a remote Arctic oil drilling outpost, a small team is confronted by escalating environmental chaos and eerie occurrences beneath the frozen tundra. Paranoia builds as nature itself seems to rebel, thrusting the crew into a survival scenario where the threat isn't just human. The harsh landscape becomes a character, relentless and unyielding. Wake Wood.
You were were going to leave me.
I was scared.
Are you still scared?
Still mourning the loss of their young daughter, a grieving couple seeks solace in the quiet village of Wakewood. There, they uncover a ritual that can bring the dead back for just 3 days. Desperate, they agree, but the child who returns isn't quite the same. As the ritual unravels, ancient forces awaken with deadly consequences. Life borrowed from death always comes at a price. Number 10, Southbound. On a desolate stretch of desert highway, 5 stories bleed into each other like spilled gasoline, each more nightmarish than the last. Directed by a team including Roxanne Benjamin and David Bruckner, Southbound is a sinister anthology that traps its characters in an endless loop of guilt, punishment, and supernatural torment. From a bloody roadside rescue gone wrong to a family dinner from hell, every tale connects with eerie precision, bound by a malevolent force haunting the highway. Time breaks, reality twists, and no one ever truly escapes. What makes the film unforgettable is its seamless transitions between stories, creating one continuous spiral into terror. Number 9, Cronos. Jesus Gris, a kind and aging antique dealer, discovers an odd, insect-shaped device hidden within the base of a centuries-old statue. When the mechanism activates, it grants him renewed youth and vitality. But along with it comes a strange thirst and a terrifying change he can't control. As he begins to unravel the origins of the device, a dying millionaire obsessed with immortality sends his violent nephew to retrieve it at any cost. Directed by Guillermo del Toro, Cronos blends gothic horror with quiet melancholy, weaving a tale of obsession, family, and the steep price of eternal life. Unlike traditional vampire stories, this one bleeds with elegance and sorrow, grounded in personal loss and moral conflict. Number 8, Bug.
There's no bugs on your skin.
You have to dig it out.
I'll dig it out and show you.
In a seedy Oklahoma motel, a lonely waitress finds comfort in a quiet drifter, but what follows is a descent into shared madness. Directed by William Friedkin, the mind behind The Exorcist, Bug is a claustrophobic spiral into paranoia and psychological horror. As the couple isolates themselves, they become obsessed with the idea that their bodies are infested with government-engineered insects. Mirrors are covered and skin is torn. Reality collapses into a feverish delusion where love and insanity intertwine. What makes the film unforgettable is its raw, stage-like intensity, trapping you in a room where the line between truth and madness no longer exists. Number 7, Dead End.
Don't worry. She's dead.
On Christmas Eve, the Harrington family is en route to a holiday gathering when Frank, the father, decides to take a shortcut through a desolate forest road. But as night stretches on, the road seems endless, and a creeping sense of wrongness begins to sink in. What should be a quick detour turns into a surreal journey where time feels distorted. The surroundings shift, and the travelers start questioning reality itself. Dead End is a slow-burning psychological horror wrapped in the trappings of a family trip gone horribly off course. The film tightens its grip with eerie encounters, pitch-black humor, and the haunting suggestion that not all roads lead somewhere. What begins as a minor wrong turn transforms into something far more unexplainable, and no one rides this road unchanged. Number 6, Daniel Isn't Real.
Daniel is simply an aspect of your mind.
I imagined you. I can make you go right.
When troubled college student Luke reawakens his imaginary childhood friend, he opens a doorway to something far more sinister than nostalgia. Directed by Adam Mortimer, Daniel Isn't Real explores the fragile boundary between mental illness and demonic possession. Daniel returns charming, confident, and dangerous. As he gains control over Luke's mind and body, the real world begins to crumble in a swirl of hallucinatory terror and psychological torment. What sets this film apart is its disturbing blend of identity horror and cosmic dread, wrapped in haunting visuals and a pulsing, otherworldly score. Number 5, Noroi, The Curse. A veteran paranormal researcher named Masafumi Kobayashi receives a final, too disturbing video documentary shortly after his house burns down and his wife is found dead. Then we watch the investigation played back in real time. What begins as probing mysterious noises and vanished children evolves into a sprawling web of real-life interviews, broken TV shows, eerie recordings, and folklore about an ancient demon named Kagutaba. The film is presented as found footage turned documentary, blending API-style realism with supernatural horror. It explores how curiosity becomes obsession, how disparate clues link into a lethal ritual, and how truth might be far darker than you want it to be. Number 4. The Lure. In neon-soaked 1980s Poland, two siren sisters rise from the sea and into the spotlight, bringing with them a hunger that cannot be silenced. Lure is a surreal blend of horror, fairy tale, and musical, where mermaids sing in nightclubs and feed in the dark. As one sister longs for love and the other craves blood, their bond is tested by betrayal, transformation, and the brutal truth of their nature. It's seductive, strange, and dripping with dread. What makes the film unforgettable is its ability to mask body horror beneath glitter and melody, turning desire into something monstrous. Number 3. 1408.
Get a hold of yourself. O'Malley.
Mike Enslin is a jaded author who specializes in debunking haunted locations, until he checks into room 1408 at New York's Dolphin Hotel, a room no one has survived for more than an hour. What begins as another routine investigation quickly turns into a harrowing experience as the room distorts time, memory, and reality itself. Trapped inside four walls that twist and shift, Mike must confront a force that knows his past and manipulates his mind with surgical precision. Directed by Mikael Hofstrom, the film is a psychological horror steeped in isolation and grief, turning a single hotel room into a labyrinth of personal torment. The terror doesn't scream. It whispers through flickering lights, impossible reflections, and truths best left buried. Number 2. Grave Torture. In Jakarta, two siblings are left traumatized after their parents commit a disturbing ritual suicide, driven by fear of siksa kubur, which is the terrifying Islamic concept of punishment in the grave. Directed by Joko Anwar, Grave Torture delivers a slow, burning descent into existential terror, where faith, guilt, and the afterlife collide. As Sita grows up, she becomes obsessed with proving the torment isn't real until her investigations take her into actual graves, where the dead do more than just rest. Drenched in dread and layered with cultural mythology, the film blends psychological horror with surreal, nightmarish imagery. What sets it apart is how it roots supernatural fear in real spiritual anxieties. Number 1. The Changeling.
Claire.
Following the tragic loss of his wife and daughter, composer John Russell relocates to an isolated, century-old mansion, hoping solitude will help him recover. But the house is far from empty. Strange sounds echo through the halls, objects move on their own, and a hidden attic room conceals a history no one wants to speak of. As John digs deeper, he uncovers clues that link the haunting to a buried past involving a long-forgotten child and a powerful, well-protected secret. Directed by Peter Medak, The Changeling is a masterclass in restrained, atmospheric horror, favoring mood, mystery, and emotional depth over jump scares. The film builds tension with ghostly precision, unraveling a chilling tale of injustice and the relentless voice of a spirit who won't be silenced. Here are 4 other movies you have to see. We are still here. After losing their son, Anne and Paul moved to a remote house in snowy New England, hoping to start over. But something in the house watches and waits, whispering through the walls. The locals know the history, a dark legacy of vengeance and blood sacrifice. When friends arrive to help, the spirits lash out with fury. Every 30 years, the house must feed, and the time has come again. Exeter.
The power of Christ compels you!
A group of thrill-seeking teenagers throw a wild party inside an abandoned asylum and unwittingly unleash a malevolent force. Trapped in the decaying halls and cut off from help, they must confront the dark past that haunts the walls. The dark.
Go see what you've woken.
A grieving mother travels to Wales with her daughter, hoping to repair her broken marriage and mend emotional wounds. But the cliffs hold secrets, and the sea whispers of a girl who died in a pagan ritual tied to the afterlife. When her daughter disappears, she's told she must trade a soul to bring her back. As supernatural forces rise from the water, time becomes her enemy, like Mungo.
She kept the fact she kept secrets a secret.
Something bad is gonna happen to me.
After the tragic drowning of their teenage daughter, a family begins experiencing strange, unsettling events in their home. Presented in faux documentary style, the film explores grief, secrets, and the supernatural through lingering uncertainty. As the family pieces together what happened, the lines between memory loss and something beyond become disturbingly thin.